G'day, welcome back to Dr. How. Today I'm talking about fixing a gaffe in The Deadly Assassin, a story when the Doctor goes back to Gallifrey. Now the Citadel guards are alerted to the arrival of a time capsule, so they turn up to investigate what's happening, and the TARDIS appears. The Doctor sees that there's guards out there and he wants to get past them so he can warn the President that the President's life is in danger. The guards are told that the occupant of the TARDIS is a known criminal, so they're going to go and arrest the Doctor. So the Doctor hatches a plan to trick them and get past them. He wants to write a note for the President to warn the President of the danger. The guards get the key to the TARDIS and they go in, and this is where the problem occurs. As the guards come in, they're going to be tricked by the Doctor. The Doctor's put his hat and coat on this chair over here, but he's not there. He's actually going to sneak past them and get out of the TARDIS. So the focus here should be on the chair and the note there, and we see the Doctor in the background. He appears and sneaks out there. And then the guard sees, the captain of the guard sees on the scanner screen that the Doctor is outside the TARDIS. So they go and they run away and they chase him. But let's have a look at that again. Here's the problem. Watch the guard on the right. When he comes in, he ends up looking in a different direction to all the other guards. He actually turns around and looks directly at the Doctor and doesn't react, which is a problem because he's meant to be arresting the occupant of the TARDIS. So they really should have reshot this scene because it was a problem. There's lots of problems with this, but it breaks the narrative, but it also introduces additional points of focus. In a scene, generally speaking, what you want is to have a single point of focus, or maybe two. The primary focus here on this scene is this chair and this note, and you can see that everyone's pointing at it. The gun, the guards' gaze, they're all looking in this direction. So that's what the audience is meant to be looking at. So that's the primary point of focus, but where's this guy looking? This guy on the right is looking off to the side, his gun's pointing in another direction, so this is a problem in terms of the staging. And if we move on a little bit later, you can see that we've now got the secondary point of focus. We've got the primary one down there, we've got the Doctor at the back there as the secondary point of focus. There's a little musical cue that happens when he appears, but this guard looks up at him and his gun's pointing off in another direction, and the gun itself catches the studio lights, and so it becomes a kind of point of focus all on its own. So we've got the note there and the Doctor that we're meant to be looking at, but then we've got this guy. It becomes he draws your eye. He becomes his own point of focus, which is a problem. So I thought of all kinds of possible solutions to this, but the only real solution is to actually fix where the guard, when he goes to look back at the Doctor, instead of looking back at the Doctor, he should just turn to face forwards and look at the chair instead. So he never actually looks back at the Doctor. This is the corrected shot. Have a look at it. He just kind of turns forwards and looks at the chair. So how did I fix this? Well, I used GIMP and I put lots of layers for various pieces, the torso and the gun and so on. And here we are in GIMP, and you can see that I've taken a shot from 40 frames in the future. So it's about 1.5 seconds in the future, and I've just cut around the guard and pasted him over himself to eliminate his gaffe. And then what we've got to do is erase anything that's not the guard, so anything that's in the foreground, which is the chair and the hat, and anything that's in the background as well. So you can see the background has some roundels on the wall there. We want to make sure that those don't distort as we put this guy from the future in over himself. So it's a matter of we have to erase anything that's foreground or background compared with the guard, but we have to be very careful with that edge, really careful with the edge of that chair and the guard. You can see if you just erase it by eye, you don't get everything. You've actually got to switch the layers on and off to make sure that you erase all the correct stuff. So once you've got that edge right, you can start erasing in bulk a little bit more easily. This was a glitchy version. The edge was actually a bit glitchy if you look at that. And what you need to do, it's not enough to look at individual images, you've actually got to play them backwards and forwards so that you can see what the overall effect is, because sometimes those glitches appear from frame to frame. Looking at an individual frame, you can't see it. It's only when you actually play it forwards and back that you can really see what's going on. And if you look down there in that corner, you can see that between different frames there's a variation in lightness or darkness. So sometimes what we have to do is in-paint things to get consistency across frames. Make sure that they're erased correctly along the edge, and then in-paint anything that doesn't quite look right. So if we do that and we keep exporting those frames and we just work our way through each individual frame, then we can get something that looks reasonably smooth. The camera actually moved through this shot, so we're actually having to move the guard around a little bit. The shadows actually change angles a little bit. And we also have to fix that gun, because otherwise the guard's looking forwards now, but the gun's pointing sideways. So we've actually got to erase that piece. And I've ended up using 4 layers to do this in the final version. We've got the guard's torso, which we've erased around and brought that forwards. And there's so we've got to erase the background as well to make sure that the roundels don't look wrong. But that's a dark background. That's not really a problem. It's this edge down here where the chair is that has to be. We've got to pay special attention to getting that right. We can erase the gun going sideways by in-painting that panel on the left there. And then we've got another layer to create a new gun that points forwards. And if you put that all together, you see the final version hopefully looks reasonable. The objective is to avoid distracting the viewer. So the objective is simply to keep the focus on the chair. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be good enough that we focus on the chair, and when the musical cue comes along we look at the Doctor. So hopefully that works better. I'm Dr. Howe. Thanks for watching. I'll catch up with you next time. Bye.